Ilyas Khouri, our next honoree, is a Lebanese novelist, playwright, critic, and prominent public intellectual who plays a major role in the Arabic cultural scene. Fiercely committed to issues of democracy and human rights, he's one of a handful of contemporary novelists to have gained Western attention. Ilyas has published 11 novels which have been translated into numerous foreign languages, as well as works of literary criticism and 3 plays. Khouri served as editor of Al-Mulha, the weekly cultural supplement to the daily, Lebanese daily, An-Nahar, and has taught at AUB, the Lebanese University, Lebanese American University, Columbia, and currently at NYU. In 1977, he published The Little Mountain, set during the Lebanese Civil War, which Khouri initially saw as a catalyst for progressive change. Other well-known works include The Journey of Little Gandhi, about a rural immigrant to Beirut who lives through the events of the Civil War, and The Gates of the Sun in 2000, a gripping epic retelling of the life of Palestinian refugees in Lebanon since 1948. In it, Ilyas tells stories of the Palestinian people while exploring ideas of memory, truth, and storytelling. Made into a film by Egyptian director Yunus Nasrallah, it is a moving and heartfelt plea for sanity and peace. Unfortunately, Ilyas cannot be with us this evening, but he sent a statement which Paul Salim will read.
هذا نص الرسالة التي أرسلها الكاتب إلياس خوري إلى هذا الحفل الكريم. أيها السيدات والسادة، أعتذر عن عدم استطاعتي الحضور من نيويورك إلى بيروت للمشاركة في هذا اللقاء التكريمي الذي ينظم احتفاء بالخريجين الكتاب في مناسبة إعلان بيروت عاصمة عالمية للكتاب. ظروفي لم تسمح لي عام 1968 بمتابعة دروسي في هذه الجامعة الجليلة، لكنني عوضت عن هذا الغياب بمشاركتي في التدريس فيها والتمتع بمذاق هذه التجربة الأكاديمية الفريدة التي قدمت للثقافة العربية نخبة من خيرة رموزها. تكريم الكاتب العربي واللبناني اليوم يحمل دلالتين: إنه من جهة أولى انخراط في معركة الحرية التي تخوضها ثقافتنا وهي تواجه أنظمة الاستبداد المهيمنة على العالم العربي. الثقافة هي اسم آخر لحرية الفرد والمواطن، وحين تكون الحرية محاصرة بعسف السلطة أو بقمع أنظمة اجتماعية قائمة على الطائفية والتعصب، لا يبقى لنا ككتاب ومثقفين سوى خيار الدفاع عنها وحمايتها، حتى لو كان ثمن الحبر دما وسجنا ومنفا واغتيال. وهو من جهة ثانية تعبير عن وعي للمخاطر التي تهدد وجودنا العربي كأمة تستحق الحياة الكريمة وسط عائلة الأمم. والواقع أن منطقتنا العربية لا تواجه القمع والفقر والخراب فقط، بل لا تزال أجزاء منها خاضعة للاحتلال المباشر. وحين يكون الجزء محتلا فإن العطب يصيب الجسم بأسره، فكيف يكون الحال إذا كان قلب المنطقة محتلا؟ نكبة فلسطين مستمرة منذ أكثر من 60 عاما، لكن الوجه الجديد للنكبة يتمثل في تأسيس نظام تمييزي عنصري يستكمل التطهير العرقي الذي بدأ عام 1948. ولا خيار لنا سوى أن نتباهى بالضحية الفلسطينية ونكون صوتا واسما لمن يريدون حرمانها من صوتها ومحو اسمها. لذا فأنتم أيها السيدات والسادة حين تكرمون الكتاب فإنكم تكرمون ثقافتكم ونضالها من أجل حرية الإنسان والأرض. فلكم جزيل الشكر، على أمل أن نستحق نحن الكتاب هذا التكريم عبر استمرارنا في حمل راية الحرية التي تجعل من الكاتب شاهدا للحق وشهيدا عليه. الياس خوري. Our next honoree is Dr. Sami Makarim. Scholar, writer, poet, and artist. A native of Aitat in the Lebanese mountains, he is a scholar of international renown, a poet of great sensibility, and an artist of universal spirituality. Dr. Makarim embodies the marriage of mind and spirit, the moral and the intellectual, the beautiful and the material. He has published widely on Islamic history, on Sufism, on Lebanese history, on the Druze faith. His books, which number over 25 in English and in Arabic, are sources of learning and knowledge. His poetry is a wellspring of inspiration, and his beautiful works of calligraphy serve as exemplars of elegance, harmony, and beauty. A man of great inner depth and great outward humility and humanity. Dr. Makarim has been a pillar of the Department of Arabic Literature and Near Eastern Languages at the American University of Beirut, has taught at the Lebanese University and at other universities around the world. Please join me in welcoming and celebrating Dr. Sami Makarim.
اسمحوا لي أحكي باللغة العربية. لم أحضر شيئا لهذه المناسبة الكريمة لأنني لم أعرف أنه يجب أن نحضر شيئا، وهذا أمر مهم وأظنه أنه لصالحي، لأنني سأتكلم من القلب إلى القلب. حضرة رئيس الجامعة الأمريكية، حضرة الأستاذ خليل مكاوي، أيها المكرمون، مرتي العزيزة، وأيها الحفل الكريم. عندما جئت إلى هذه المناسبة شعرت بشعورين. الشعور الأول أن الإعجاب بالنفس راودني لمدة قصيرة، ولكنني استطعت، أو أظن أنني استطعت أن أتخلص منه وأقهره. والأمر الآخر أنني التقيت بصحب قدماء لم أكن قد التقيت بهم من قبل، خصوصا الذين جاءوا من خارج بيروت. صادق، فأهلا وسهلا بك. ولكنني أيضا سررت أيضا من الزميل سمير خلف عندما ذكر أنه بروتستانتي المذهب وأن صادق أيضا ففضحوا. ومعلش أنا بصفتي درزي المذهب فأنا بروتستانتي بالإسلام. فجماعتنا البروتستانتية إذا أريد أن أقول شيئا، مع أنني كنت مترددا، ذلك لأن زوجتي عندما تركت البيت ما عاد فيني ارجع لاحظت انه منغط على قميصي فيه، فقالت لي اوعى فخبيها بالكرافات. فطول الوقت وانا عم بخبيها. فما تغزوني اذا شفتوها، تريدوا تشوفوها. فلذلك أستميحكم عذرا على هذا التقصير. الشيء الآخر، إذا كنا بدنا نحكي شوي بشوية جدية، أنا عندما ذهبت إلى الولايات المتحدة لأكمل دراستي أخذت بشيء ما زال أتخذه رمزا لي، وهو قول المرحوم والدي لي، وكان فنانا. قال لي: أنا وهبني الله فنا فوقفته للحق، وأنت إذا كنت ذاهبا إلى الولايات المتحدة لتتلقى علما فهبه أيضا للحق. وحاولت أن أفعل ذلك، فأشكر والدي على هذه النصيحة. الأمر الآخر الذي أريد أن أقوله أنني أحاول دائما أن أكون على قدر ما أراده والدي أن أكون، فأشكركم جزيلا على ذلك، على مجيئكم، وأشكر رابطة خريجي الجامعة على هذه المناسبة الكريمة، وأطلب من الله أن نستطيع أن نكرم غيرنا من الذين يستحقون هذا التكريم في المستقبل القريب. شكرا جزيلا.
Our next honoree, Raymond Khoury, was born in Lebanon, but spent his teenage years in Rye, New York, where his family moved in '75 to escape the Lebanese Civil War. Raymond returned to Lebanon to attend AUB and study architecture. While still a student, he illustrated several children's books for Oxford University Press. He went on to earn an MBA from the European Institute of Business Administration, and shortly after that began a career as an investment banker. It was not to last long. After that, Raymond decided to embrace his creative roots, becoming an acclaimed screenwriter and producer for both film and television, whose credits include the hit BBC spy series Spooks and the Emmy Award-winning drama Walking the Dead. In September 2002, at the suggestion of his literary agent, Raymond began researching and writing the novelized version of his screenplay, The Last Templar, which took 3 years to complete. The epic thriller became an instant New York Times bestseller, spending 11 weeks on the hardcover fiction list and topped international best-selling lists at #1. It has been translated into 38 languages and published in over 40 countries. His novels to date include The Last Templar, 2005, The Sanctuary, 2007, The Sign, 2009, and 2010 will see the publication of The Last Templar sequel, The Templar Salvation. Khoury has the extraordinary ability to meld extensive historical research into a blockbuster thriller narrative. His immense talent and stunning achievements are an inspiration to students who dream of one day becoming successful writers. Khoury lives in London with his wife and 2 daughters, where he devotes his time to writing. Unfortunately, due to personal reasons, he will not be with us tonight.
Our next honoree is Dr. Marwan Muashir. Dr. Marwan Muashir has had a remarkable career in diplomacy, peace building, and political reform. He is living proof that integrity, rationality, moderation, and courage are possible in the Arab world of today. Dr. Muashir is a young man, but he has already served as Jordan's foreign minister, its deputy prime minister, and its ambassador. And he is currently a vice president for external affairs at the World Bank in Washington, where he is today. His book, The Arab Center, recounts his diplomatic and political struggles to protect and promote Jordanian, Palestinian, and Arab rights in peace talks with recalcitrant Israeli governments. He recalls the ups and the downs, the triumphs and the failures, and the historic role of King Hussein in all of this. Under King Abdullah of Jordan, he was asked to lead a national commission to draw up a comprehensive plan for political reform in Jordan. His commission explored and proposed change in all aspects of political participation, representation, rule of law, and decision-making. I know that many of his ambitions have remained unrealized, but his contribution to elucidating the way forward for Jordan, and by association for many other Arab states, is invaluable. I am proud to count Dr. Muashir as a friend and a colleague. He was not able to be with us today, but has sent a message to be read out. Before doing so, please join me in celebrating Dr. Marwan Muashir's career and contributions. This is the note that Dr. Marwan sent to this gathering. It is a great honor for me to be recognized as an AUB alumni author during your literary festival this year, and I am deeply humbled to be among such a distinguished group of Arab authors. I regret that I am not able to be among you today, but I certainly subscribe to the great tradition that AUB has taught us and to the ideals that this festival aspires to. For it was at AUB that I first came to learn that truths are not absolute, first realized the need for critical thinking, and first appreciated the power of diversity. AUB remains a place that teaches us tolerance and appreciation of the other, values that are in very short supply in the Arab world today. My book attempts to redefine the traditional Arab center, from one that is selectively moderate on one issue alone, the peace process, to one that needs to be moderate on all issues of concern to Arab citizens, political reform, good governance, and the application of the rule of law, in addition to peace. It aspires to an Arab political discourse that is pluralistic, peaceful, and inclusionist, one that is as passionate about reform as it is about peace, and as insistent on peaceful means as it is on good governance. Such a discourse is strikingly absent in the current Arab political landscape. I hope my book is a modest contribution towards the development of such a discourse. I'm truly delighted to be among the honorees today and wish you all success in this great festival. Sincerely, Marwan Muashir.
Emily Nasrallah is an award-winning Lebanese novelist, short story writer, journalist, and women's rights activist who began her career while still a college student. She was born in a small village in southern Lebanon. A graduate of Beirut University College and AUB, where she received a BA in education in 1958, Nasrallah was a teacher and journalist before becoming a full-time novelist and short story writer. Birds of September, her deeply moving first novel, published in 1962, won 3 Arabic literary prizes. Since that time, Emily has produced 7 novels, 4 children's books, and 7 short story collections. Emily has a talent for crafting compelling stories that explore hugely relevant themes, such as family roots, Lebanese village life, population shifts from rural to urban areas, immigration, the Lebanese war, and the struggle of women for independence and self-expression. She is part of a select group of Lebanese women authors known as the Beirut Decentrists, who stayed in the city, shared the experience of war, and wrote about the conflict by transcending confessional and political loyalties and demanding an end to violence through nonviolent means. Together with this group, Emily shares a feminist consciousness of the 1970s and 1980s that created narratives of peace politics. Emily is graceful and generous with fellow authors and aspiring student writers alike. On numerous occasions, she has engaged in my creative writing workshops, eagerly sharing ideas with the class. One of her memorable stories is about the scarcity of writing paper in her remote southern Lebanese village, but young Emily was not deterred. She wrote on whatever she could find: scraps of newspaper, discarded bags, bits of cardboard boxes, and old pieces of cloth. Emily lives with her chemist husband, Philip. Together they have raised an impressive family of 4. Please welcome me in honoring Emily Nasrallah.
Thank you very much. ما رح اقرا روايه، رح احكي كلمه قصيره لهالمناسبه العظيمه. ان تكرم الجامعه الامريكيه في بيروت الفتاة التي كان يجب أن تنهي دراستها في الصف الابتدائي الثالث بحسب تقاليد محيطها وزمانها لأمر يفوق كل التوقعات. وأن تكرم هذه الجامعة الفتاة التي كتبوا في هويتها ومنذ اللحظة الأولى لولادتها بأنها أمية، فأمر لا نصدقه في الحاضر، إنما كان في الماضي حقيقة ملازمة لوجود المرأة ومحدودية قدراتها، خصوصاً المرأة في الأرياف. أما أن تتذكر هذه الجامعة العريقة والتي كان وجودها فعل تحول وتغيير لا في وطننا وحسب بل وفي الشرق العربي قاطبة، أن تتذكر وتكرم الأدباء من خريجيها لهو درس جديد فاتنا حفظه فيما حفظنا عنها من دروس وحكم. أيها الحفل الكريم، سيدي رئيس الجامعة الدكتور بيتر دورمان، سعادة السفير خليل مكاوي رئيس الجمعية العالمية لخريجي الجامعة الأمريكية، الهيئة الكريمة التي قامت بتنظيم هذه المناسبة الفريدة لمناسبة اختيار بيروت عاصمة للكتاب، عاصمة عالمية للكتاب، أرجو أن تتقبلوا شكري وإقراري بفضلكم إذ قلدتموني جميلاً لن أنساه عمري. وأود أن أعتقد بأن كل حرف كتبته في خلال مسيرتي الأدبية كان من محاولات التجاوز والتأكيد بأني حفظت بعض ما غرسته الAUB في فكري وكياني. كذلك تغمرني السعادة والغبطة كلما تذكرت أن أفراداً من عائلتي، أولادي، مستمرون في خطى الجامعة، إن من جهة الانتماء إلى هيئتها التعليمية والطبية أو الانتظام في صفوف طلابها. عاشت الجامعة الأمريكية في بيروت، عاش القيمون عليها، وألف شكر لكم. مع السلامة.
Our next honoree, Amin Rihani, received his BA in Political Science from AUB and went on to get an MA in Arabic Literature in '71. Rihani became Assistant Director of International College. He has also taught Arab American Literature and 20th Century Arab Thought at AUB and the Lebanese American University. In 1996, Rihani earned a PhD in bilingual literature from the Lebanese University. From '72 to 2001, he served as Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs at Notre Dame University, and from 2002 to '06 as Vice President for Research and Development. These positions he still holds today. As well, he assists in establishing research centers throughout the region. Author of 16 books, as well as editor and translator, he is the recipient of numerous literary awards, namely the Suad al-Sabbah First Literary Award for 2003. 3 years later, he was recognized as Distinguished Author for his outstanding literary and philosophic work by the same committee. Amin's most recent published works are A Train to No Station, 2006, Multiculturalism and the Arab American Literature, 2007, and The Nigh of Wandering Songs, 2009. Please join me in welcoming and honoring Amin Rihani.
President Dorman, Your Excellency Minister Tarek Mitri, ladies and gentlemen, it seems that AUB and the worldwide alumni wanted to take me by surprise twice. The first is to include me in this honor, and the second, not to tell me that they're expecting few remarks from me. Well, I feel that I'm honored twice today. Once in my capacity as a writer, and the second in including me with distinguished writers who happen to be, some of them, my professors, like Professor Sadiq Jalal Azm and Professor Sami Makarim. Of course, all the others are either good friends or good mentors to me. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to remind myself today that I am the student of great professors at this university. I'm the student of Charles Malik, Walid Al-Khalidi, Faiz Sayigh, that I carry their legacy with me forever. أيها الكرام، اسمحوا لي أن أختم بالعربية لأقول أنني كذلك وفي هذه الجامعة بالذات أنا تلميذ أنطون غطاس كرم. أنا تلميذ مملكة الإشارات. أنا تلميذ عبد الله. أنا تلميذ هذا الصرح العريق. أنا تلميذ الحقيقة اللا مطلقة كما تعلمتها في هذه الجامعة. أيها الكرام، بهذا المعنى أعتبر نفسي أنني كرمت. شكرا. Thank you AUB. Thank you Worldwide Alumni.
Our next honoree is Dr. Kamal Salibi. Kamal Suleiman Salibi is our Herodotus and our Thucydides, our Jabarti and our Ibn Khaldun. He explored Lebanon's past, deciphered its mysteries and its contradictions, and read it back to us with purpose, clarity, and elegance. He mapped out our house of many mansions and showed us how we might renew it and renovate it. He explored our rise to civility and our descent into barbarism. And always he wrote with empathy, accuracy, intelligence, and humanity. He has also explored biblical history and its connections to Arabia, challenging centuries of received and unquestioned views. He's written a landmark history of Jordan and been a pioneer in interfaith dialogue. He's in the proud tradition of Philip Hitti and Albert Hourani and is one of the leading historians at work today. Dr. Kamal Salibi was a pillar of the history department at AUB for many years, producing his own groundbreaking works, but also training and mentoring generations of students and historians. Fewer might know that Kamal Salibi was also an accomplished musician. It was in this capacity that I came to know him best, when in the midst of the Civil War, Dr. Salibi staged a production of a musical opera that he had written to counteract the savagery that had overtaken our city and our country. The past is mute until someone recreates it for us and makes it speak. For all that, Dr. Salibi has made speak in our complex and troubled past, and for all that he has written and contributed, I know that we are deeply indebted and grateful to him. Dr. Salibi was unable to join us today, but please join me in celebrating his wonderful lifelong accomplishments.
Ghada al-Samman is a prominent Syrian writer, journalist, and publisher. After earning a BA in English literature from the Syrian University, she went on to graduate from AUB in 1965 with a master's in theater. Ghada has published 15 books, 9 of which are poetry collections, and an autobiography in 1997 entitled The Impossible Novel, Damascene Mosaic. In her groundbreaking 1973 short story collection, The Departure of Old Ports, Ghada focuses on the dilemma of Arab intellectuals of the time, particularly the debilitating conflict between thought and action. She has the extraordinary ability to look closely at bleak truths. In her novel, Beirut 75, written in 1974, she describes the complex and explosive social problems in the city. It starts with a prophecy by a fortune teller who says, "I see blood, I see a lot of blood." A few months later, the Lebanese civil war erupted. Very early in her career, Ghada broke away from the tight grip of feminist themes to focus on much wider social, political, and humanistic issues. Her extensive knowledge of Western and Arabic literature, alongside the ability to combine the attributes of both, makes her writing style unique. She, like Emily Nasrallah, belongs to a group of authors known as the Beirut Decentrists, who crafted narratives of peace politics during the Lebanese Civil War, thus transcending religious and political affiliations to create a humanist nationalism. Ghada has been living in Paris since the mid-1980s. Unfortunately, she cannot be with us this evening, but please join me in congratulating her for this award.
Our last honoree tonight is His Excellency Hassan Twaini. Hassan Gibran Twaini. His thoughts have been with us every day and every month of our lives. It is only fitting that our thoughts are with him today. A man of Shakespearean depth and richness, joy and suffering, achievement and tragedy. Life has tried him hard, and he has driven it hard as well. He has left a giant mark on us, on Lebanon, and on the Arab world. Journalist, activist, diplomat, deputy, educator, visionary, revolutionary, reformer. He has been a driving force and a driving voice for freedom, independence, and democratic government in Lebanon and the Arab world. He has led us in thought and in revolt and in change. His newspaper, An-Nahar, has raised its call for sovereignty, human rights, and good government every morning of every day since before most of us were born. Hassan Twaini is an integral part of Lebanon and of us. He was a student of philosophy at AUB, then of political thought and political science at Harvard. He took over the Nahar newspaper at an early age and made it the premier news and opinion source in the Arab world. He served in parliaments, governments, and embassies, and served from his office as publisher, from the streets as protester, and occasionally from the prison cell as well. Hassan Twaini embodies Lebanon's struggle for independence and the Arab citizens' struggle for liberty, for rights, for respect, and for civility. He is truly a veteran freedom fighter. Hassan Twaini was also a son, a husband, and a father. And in all these roles, he was sorely tried by fate, deprived of his father at a young age, then robbed of his wife, his daughter, and both his sons. It is more than any one person can endure. But like a giant oak, he has weathered the lacerations of life and has kept caring, giving, laughing, writing, changing, doing. Somehow, he is a father to all of us. We are all his family, eager to fulfill his hopes and dreams for us and praying for his welfare and for his good health. He is with us today and always will be. Please join me in sending a salute of gratitude, dedication, and love to Hassan Twaini.
Okay, we shall now stand for the alma mater.